Good afternoon, and welcome to Medieval History, or good morning, or middle of the night, whenever you happen to be watching this. I hope it's good. Today we're going to be talking about Saint Benedict. Saint Benedict lived a long time ago. He's an old dude, but he's important, especially to you, because he is the patron saint of students. He's a big believer in the importance of learning and of the acquisition of knowledge and of monasticism. That is, monks coming together and doing their learning together and serving God together. He's often referred to as the father of Western monasticism because of all the hard work that he did and how influential his hard work wound up being. Now, Benedict himself, he leaves home around 500 CE, about the age 20, to go live by himself in a cave. Sounds crazy, right? Well, it was actually not that uncommon at the time. A lot of very truly religious people looked at the world around them filled with sin and vice and did not want to be influenced this, wanted to purify their thoughts and their souls. And they felt the only way they could do that was to be a hermit. That is, somebody who separates himself from society. So Benedict goes off, lives alone in this cave for a few years. And when he emerges as a man of God, a man who is purified of mind, thought, body. And as a pure soul, as a pure individual, man whose commune with God is as pure as can be, he begins to acquire followers. People start to follow Saint Benedict and listen to what he has to say. And he's a wise man, he's an intelligent man, and he's a pure man. He acquires these followers who start to really believe that what Saint Benedict is saying is well aligned with the will of God. And he forms these groups together. And pretty soon he starts to form many separate groups of people who are willing to be monks. That is, to live together in the study and service of God. And throughout his life, he is confirmed to have founded at least 13 monasteries, probably more. But what he's most known for, because in that whole story, he's not unique in that. Lots of hermits, lots of them were monks, a lot of them founded monasteries. What makes Saint Benedict so unique and so important, and why we need to talk about him in this medieval history class, is connected to the rule of Saint Benedict. See, he organized his monasteries around 73 rules. These rules governed monastic life. Within that monastery, you followed those 73 rules. That was how to be a good monk. And within the monastery, those 73 rules were law. Now, they wound up being so good, so thoughtful, so advantageous to those monks in those monasteries that the rule begins to quickly spread beyond just those 13 monasteries. The rule of Saint Benedict becomes the rule of Western monasticism. So the rules themselves, what are they? Well, they're going to deal with different areas of life within a monastery. About half of them are going to address the monks themselves, and they're going to say, look, we're living in a world filled with temptation, filled with sin. How do we avoid that? How do we focus in on our life? About half of them are going to focus on how to be obedient to the church leaders, the abbot. Abbot leads the monastery. How to follow their rule, how to be obedient with them, and how to be humble. That is, not to be proud, not to think too highly of oneself. Beyond those, others will regulate the work of God, those things that monks do in God's service. regulate the management of the monastery. How is it supposed to be run? How can we make sure that this monastery is effective? And then a few more deal specifically with the leadership of the abbot. How should an abbot be leading a monastery? Now, these rules lead these monasteries to be so successful that their influence spreads. And throughout the Middle Ages, the rule of Saint Benedict becomes the rule of these monasteries. These monasteries become centers of learning that really drive the culture and learning of the Middle Ages. These centuries, these Middle Ages, have been by some referred to as the Benedictine centuries. Now, we're talking mostly religious people would refer to this as the Benedictine centuries, not more of a traditional historian, but maybe a historian of religious activities might refer to this as the Benedictine centuries. But it really does have this transformational effect on Western Christianity. And soon monasteries throughout all of Europe, not just those ones founded by Saint Benedict, but all of them in Western Europe, become these centers for gathering knowledge. And once you have enough knowledge gathered in one place, new knowledge starts to be created and spreads across Europe. And we start to have a rebirth of knowledge. And it is slow at first, especially since these monasteries are primarily focused on religious knowledge, not necessarily scientific. But as that curiosity, as that intellectual wondering about the world starts to spread, we do start to see a slow rebirth of knowledge. Now, we see a big rebirth of knowledge in the Carolingian Empire. It's going to slow down a little bit after that. It doesn't really kick into high gear again until the Italian Renaissance. But the rule of Saint Benedict is going to be essential. We have as many documents saved from these Benedictine monks as from centuries and centuries of gathering knowledge before that, because nobody was really gathering it. They started to collect. We started to have centers of learning, centers of knowledge in these monasteries. And it was incredibly influential for the world. And that is why the rule of Saint Benedict is so important, and why we've got to talk about him when we talk about the Carolingian Renaissance. So that is Saint Benedict. I hope you enjoyed today. I'll see you tomorrow.